Racism, it's the year's hottest topic and is likely to remain a significant focus over the next couple of years. Now, my view of racism as a person of African descent is slightly different, even more unconventional than what you'd usually expect. You see, when it comes to dealing with racism, my race seems to hit into one of three lanes. One, they try the holier than thou approach, opting to show the world they can rise above the hate and fight it with love. Two, they absolutely ignore the hate, pretend it doesn't exist, or that those who spew hatred and racism are insignificant and unworthy of their time. Or the last lane, where they mentally give up and opt for an fit into the crowd approach, opting to downplay the effect of racism to show that it's not that big of a deal, even partaking in self-deprecating racism. No matter the lane they choose, the results, well, for me anyway, are never satisfying. The racism doesn't stop, and if anything, it validates the racist rhetoric and behavior. So I have opted for the fourth unspoken lane, one that's often frowned upon even by my own people. I fight back fire with fire. I mirror them and mimic exactly what they do to me unto them. Now, by now, you might be saying to yourself, hold on, an eye for an eye makes the whole world go blind, or something of that nature. And I would have been inclined to agree with you a decade ago if it weren't for what I personally noticed, which is the effect of our racist psyche. You see, I've come to understand something about the motive of a racist. They're not doing it just based on hating you for your skin tone or perceived biological difference. When they choose to be racist, that is them telling you they don't acknowledge your humanity, and no matter which of the previously mentioned three lanes you choose, they don't protect your mind from the constant onslaught of being dehumanized. What I mean is this: for lane one, as nice as it sounds, that lane positions you always to have to prove your humanity to the world. You're placing yourself in an unfair position of being afraid of expressing your hate in fear of losing the faux love the world gives you for being the better person. It's a cage. And at lane two, you're placing yourself in a dangerous position of being ignorant of your enemy's motives and beliefs. Sure, you might think that by ignoring the racism, you're protecting your mind, but whether you choose not to stare into the abyss is still staring back, and they're constantly plotting against you. And by the time you react, it will be too late. They've created an entire narrative behind your back, and eventually you'll have to deal with it, which puts a strain on your psyche. The third and last lane is the worst, because while you might think you're overcoming the hate by playing along, all you're doing is slowly chipping away at your own psyche, which by the time you realize it, you've begun to embody or believe the things you're saying about yourself. This is the beginning stages of becoming a coon. That's why I realized the fourth lane is the most optimal for survival. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying go out there and attack any race randomly and unprovoked. No, I'm saying when you're verbally or sometimes physically attacked, attack that individual back in the same way. With the fourth lane, I'm no longer concerned with how anyone perceives me. My only goal is two things: protect my psyche and let my enemies know I am willing to do unto them what they plan to do to me. I need my enemies to understand that if they choose to invoke hate towards me, there will be consequences. Ever since I have taken that path, my psyche has remained healthy. Not only that, but by choosing to attack back, I was forced to study my enemies more closely, and I began to realize just how pathetic they are and how easy it is to frustrate them. It won't stop the racism, and quite frankly, it's not my responsibility to do so. The only responsibility I have is to myself and my race. We've been hated for centuries, and I have outgrown my desire to understand why. The only thing I desire is to ensure my race's honor and dignity are restored. Now, there is another reason I chose the fourth lane, which I haven't mentioned yet: imbalance. What do I mean by imbalance? A simpler example to help explain it would be bullying. You've heard people say to others who are bullied, "You've got to stand up to bullies," but never explain to you why. The reason is simple: it's because in many situations, bullying is sustained by perceived power imbalance and silence. When no resistance is shown, it signals to the bully that you're weak and that they're right to bully you. And in this world of ours, whether people will admit this or not, no one respects the weak. We live in a world that only respects the powerful, regardless of what they do. Look at any stories we humans tell, and you'll see a theme. The weak are mocked until they obtain the power that demands respect. People also have more respect for the weak guy who fights back, regardless of the odds, than the weak guy who cries to be loved. Sounds dramatic, I know, but I'm sure you get what I mean. Sure, people can feel bad for the bullied, but that doesn't mean they will respect them. And when I say respect, I don't mean being liked. I mean respecting their capacity for retaliation and power, which creates a natural fear of consequences for wronging them. The reason why I believe racism is rising is that they no longer feel fear or have forgotten the consequences that come with it. There's a perceived power imbalance from racist people. Even if my race doesn't have institutional powers, it's still important to convey to our enemies our willingness to fight back no matter what. And as we've seen so far, it doesn't look like it's going to slow down anytime soon. We need to face the harsh truth and understand that the rise of racism isn't going away anytime soon. And if you ask me personally, I'd say been at war socially, politically, culturally, spiritually, and militarily for a long time. They will never stop. And just so we're clear, I'm not just talking about Caucasians. This literally goes for all the known races on the planet. Arabs, Indians, East Asians, this applies to all of them. As I also no longer believe in the delusion that is Posse. Every race has racists who look down on us for one thing or another. Their motives may differ, but the hate is all the same, and they must know that they're Tanagerians willing to fight back. Well, that's it for me. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and let me know what you think.